The 8 dimensions of wellness. How's that part of your retirement transition? Well, that's what we're going to go over here. I want you to first think about the idea that you have a financial plan. You worked on it, maybe for 30 years. And that's great. It's part of getting to retirement. But very often, no one plans for the purpose, the structure, the identity, or the relationships in retirement. Those things don't really transfer from your job or career. They stay with it. And so it becomes kind of hard for some folks. The 8 dimensions is just one way to think about rebuilding those things. That's what this video is. It's about the idea of redesigning your world in retirement. So I want to tell you a story about Carol first. She's a friend of mine. She was telling me about when she first retired. She thought about the idea of gardening. She did pool exercises. She loved to cook. This all seemed great. But after about 4 to 6 months, it just wasn't enough. She started looking and thinking about what went wrong. Retirement, of course, was supposed to be wonderful. She thought about it and decided she needed to take charge. So she considered what she liked to do. She found an art group. That helped. She ran into people, made new friends. And then someone asked her if she liked to sing. Of course she does, and so she joined a chorus group as well. Both those ventures gave her more than she thought. They gave her the structure. They increased her social time. They created new relationships that she loved, and just generally improved her mood and happiness. She said it took almost 2 years to find those things. They ended up making her retirement fun and purpose-filled. She could have done it maybe sooner. Would have been nice if someone would have told her to think about those things prior to retirement, like they had done with the financial plan. That's the idea of Change 8. This is how we want to help you, and the 8 dimensions can be part of that. So what are the 8 dimensions of wellness? Well, they're listed here: emotional, financial, social, spiritual, intellectual, physical, occupational, and environmental. You probably recognize these in yourself, and they'll show up over and over again. We're going to go through them here in this video very quickly, just give you an idea about them. But if you watch the channel on a regular basis, you're going to find that we're going to go into deep dives about these. They're important for you to understand how to manage your retirement well. We'll start with emotional wellness, the ability to recognize, accept, and manage your emotions in a healthy way. This is important. I want you to think about each of those 3 words. Recognize. We've got to be able to recognize what's going on. Are we happy or sad? Somewhere in between. We've got to be able to accept it. So what's causing you to feel that way? You're going to think about that when you think about your emotions. Then we want to manage it. How can we keep from getting too upset with people or with the situation? How are we going to manage that? How are we going to work through it? So in retirement, this often shows up as grief or loss. We've lost our identity. We might have grief about that, obviously. How are we going to work through that? How are we going to recognize the emotions, where they came from? How are we going to accept them? So all of that is part of this emotional wellness. Financial wellness, next one. It's the idea of being a sense of financial security or freedom from chronic financial stress. If you decided to retire, this is probably not a huge problem for you. There's different problems. You're going to think about how long is my nest egg going to last, that kind of thing. And that will cause some stress, but we've probably done a pretty good job planning for it. In retirement, this kind of shifts from that accumulation mindset, sticking with the job, putting those dollars away. That's what we mean by accumulation. To sustainable spending in retirement. What is that? A lot of people haven't thought enough about how much they're going to spend and in what ways. So financial wellness is a part of retirement as well, obviously. Okay, before I talk about the social dimension, I want to take a little pause. As I talk through these, I hope you'll stop and think about each one, how they work in your life. That's the key to beginning to understand them. It's not just separately, but together, because while I talk about them individually, they actually work together. Changes in one area influence the other dimensions. If you're weaker in one, it can cause problems in the other dimensions. If you improve in one, it can start to help change the other areas. If you increase your social sphere, for example, you can see how that might improve your emotional dimension or encourage you to go out and exercise with others for your social dimension. If you work out in nature, it might improve your environmental or spiritual areas. So we need to remember this, that as each dimension is worked on, it can influence other dimensions. If you'll stay around to the end of the video, there will be a free quick check assessment available to you. It will get you to think more about the personal situation that you're in with regard to the 8 dimensions. It'll be a great starting point for using this model. I hope you'll stick around. Okay, back to the social wellness dimension. Definitions, the idea that the quality of relationships and your sense of connection and belonging. This is really a critical dimension. A lot of research shows that as we lose relationships or lose the social connections that we have with people, we get sicker. People who lose these become more isolated is a real problem in retirement and in older age. So we want to focus on this one. You don't have to have 100 friends. You just need a few really good, tight-knit people to be in your corner. Finding those people sometimes can be difficult after you've left work. Work gave you that society or that group of people. You may have to find it on your own when you go into retirement, though. It's an important one to focus on. It'll make you healthier for sure. In retirement, rebuilding those social networks, we have to remember, is not coming from work anymore. So keep that in mind, and again, keep it in mind that each one of these dimensions influences the other. So we want to focus on all 8 to the right degree so that we can improve all the 8 dimensions. All right, on to number 4, spiritual wellness. A sense of purpose, meaning, and alignment with your personal values. So when we say spiritual, we might think of religion, but it's really not about religion. It could be, if religion's very important to you. But focus on the idea that it's a sense of purpose, meaning, alignment with your personal values. So again, personal values could lead you to religion, but I'm not really talking about the idea of religion here. That would be really difficult because there's so many religions. And so I want to keep the definition a little broader. So that's what we're talking about. In retirement, rediscovering what matters most to you when the career is no longer defining it for you. This is what Carol was doing. She was finding out that she needed more than just gardening, just cooking. She had to figure out what was most meaningful to her, what would give her purpose. So she ended up finding art classes and especially the chorus group. She goes all over the country with the chorus group now to sing and find enjoyment in everything that she does. That's something about spiritual wellness that we'll need to think about and focus on. What is it that's going to bring you that purpose and meaning in your life now? Okay, on to intellectual wellness. That's the definition here. Engaging in stimulating mental activities and continuing to grow and learn. In retirement, finding creative outlets or learning opportunities to replace those work challenges that were just there for you. So again, work gave you that structure. You need to make it on your own now. What does that look like? Engaging in stimulating mental activities. Well, it could be anything. It might be just reading, learning something through books. It might be going out into the community. It might be talking with a group of friends every day or every second day. It could be anything. It might be mentorship. So you might mentor someone younger than you in whatever your professional practice was. All of these things force you to stay active, to be mentally active, and to continue to grow and learn in whatever kind of way. Okay, on to physical wellness. This is one that hits hard for some. Finding the time and the focus to do your best for your health is something that can be difficult. It's probably difficult during your working years even. There wasn't much time for paying attention to your health necessarily. So it's always maybe been difficult. It can be difficult in retirement too, for the same reason. The structure's different. It's changed. You don't have work to go to every morning and spend the day doing your work. And so that can cause a little drift in the way you do things physically. We want to think about that as we move into retirement. Retirement might give you that time back, but you have to create that structure. But if this dimension is more successful, it can easily spread improvements into other areas. So we want to try to get it right as much as possible. In retirement, that comes around to building new routines, because work doesn't give you any of that structure anymore. What's that going to be like for you? Are you going to get up early to do your workout? Are you going to build your menus at the end of the week and think about making meals for the whole week? Are you going to do your exercise 3 times a day, maybe 20, 30 minutes at a time? What's that going to look like for you? The routine will help you be successful. So we want to think about that as we think about our physical wellness. All right, next dimension is occupational wellness. This one's especially important to me. I'm an occupational therapist. And so I've spent a lot of time reading and thinking about what does occupation mean. And you might think of it as it means something about a job, but really occupation, an older definition of it, is just being occupied. What keeps you busy during the day? What are you focused on during the day? Again, that idea of I'm occupying my time somehow. So we want to think about that. And in our definition, we have finding satisfaction and meaning in how you spend your time and energy. That's the key. And that's the different definition of occupational. But in retirement, we want to do this. We want to figure out what our time is going to be doing for us. What are those purposeful activities going to be? Is it going to be something like volunteering, consulting? What are the new roles that you'll take on? Again, mentoring might be something that you do. Teaching. Any of those kinds of things will fill up your time. They'll give you a sense of purpose and satisfaction. And this is the idea of occupational wellness. So we want to focus on that. Again, if we get that right, that can help the other dimensions as well. Last one, environmental wellness. We want to think about this not as saving the earth, for example. That might be the idea that comes into your mind when you hear the word environmental. But really, it's the living in environments that support your health, safety, and a sense of well-being. So it's anything around you. It's your home, it's your neighborhood. It might be your grocery store, your church. Anywhere you are presents environments that can either make you a little more healthy or maybe a little more unwell. So think about what those might be in your situation. What are those environmental situations that are more positive for you? Which ones might give you a little more difficulty? And in retirement, choosing where to live to support your lifestyle and values is the choice that we need to make. You want to be in places that help support your values, your occupations. So give that a thought. And again, all of these work together. So think about also how this might work with your other dimensions. Okay, well, that's it for the 8 dimensions of wellness. That's just a video that gets you started with it. We'll go into a lot more detail as we move into the channel more. And we'll do it sort of one dimension at a time. We'll get a focus on each of those dimensions and tell more about how they can shape your retirement journey. This is where I wanted to tell you to take the quick check free assessment. You can see it's here. If you do that, that'll help you kind of get a feel for where you are with regard to the 8 dimensions. It'll get you started and thinking about how those dimensions work for you, how they might interact with each other. So I hope you'll do that. That'll get you started. Also, if you're ready to learn more, go a little deeper, you can join the Change A community on School. And I've got the link there as well. If you want to go there, it's free. There's nothing that you'd have to buy. And it's a community where We're going to have people discussing back and forth, sharing their journeys, sharing ideas about what's successful, what's hard, and talking about these 8 dimensions. So I hope you would do that too. I want to encourage you to do that. And if you can also, for this YouTube channel, I'd love it if you would like it or subscribe, and definitely if you would comment. That would help me understand what's going on with the audience. It would help the audience members learn something about what you're thinking and to be supportive in that kind of way. So I hope you'll do any and all of those things, and I will see you next time.